Welcome back to Stray Trains. In this video, we take a look at the ins and the outs of the Alamein Line. As usual, starting off with an overview, the Alamein Line is served by Metro's Extrapolis fleet. The line code is ALM. The line is a total of 18 stations long and just 6 of them lie on the Alamein Line exclusively. It serves Melbourne's eastern suburbs as part of the Burnley Group, given the colour dark blue on our railways map. Service terminations include Camberwell, Riversdale and Alamein. For service alterations, stations such as Ashburton can be utilised. Time for some service notes. The loop direction for the Alamein Line on weekdays is anti-clockwise during the AM peak and clockwise during the PM peak. We'll get back to in a moment why I say peak. On weekends, the Alamein Line does not utilise the City Loop. But when it does use the City Loop, it utilises Platform 4, which is part of the Burnley Loop. In terms of other city platforms, Alamein services use Southern Cross Platform 10, and at Flinders Street, predominantly platforms 2, 3 or 4. During the AM peak, Limited Express Alamein services are as following. Stopping all stations to Richmond, running express from Richmond to Camberwell, then stopping all stations to Alamein. During the peak PM, there are no limited express services towards Alamein. However, towards the city, there is a stopping all stations to Camberwell, running express from Camberwell to Glenferrie, Glenferrie to Richmond, then stopping all stations to Flinders Street service. Now, off-peak and during weekends, the Alamein Line originates and terminates at Camberwell Station and not Flinders Street. Interestingly, Metro operate 3-carriage trains when running Camberwell Alamein shuttles, and not the typical 6-carriage service. Only on weekdays from the 5:28 Alamein to the 9:10 Riversdale service in the mornings, and the 2:23 Alamein via loop service to the 7:13 Alamein via loop service in the evening, do Alamein services run out of Flinders Street. Note though, if you do miss the 6:49 Alamein service, take the 7:01 Ringwood, as that connects with the first 3-carriage shuttle after the post-PM. You don't have to wait for the 7:13 Alamein. All other services, you must take either a Belgrave or Lilydale service towards Camberwell and change there for an Alamein connection. That is when the Alamein Line is running only between Camberwell and Alamein. In terms of service frequency, Alamein trains run at about a 15-minute frequency off-peak, during the peak every 10 to 15 minutes, at night time every 30 minutes, on the weekend every 20 minutes, and during night network at the typical every 60 minutes. Now time for some travel tips. If you are not sure whether to take a train to Camberwell or wait for an Alamein service, generally the passenger information displays will indicate if a Belgrave or Lilydale service connects with an Alamein service. However, as a general rule of thumb, if you aren't sure, just take the next train to Camberwell and wait there. Also, the PIDs themselves will also audio saying to take this train and change at Camberwell. Tip number 2, whilst there are some Alamein Limited Express services, the only stations they skip will be between the city and Camberwell. As a result, if you are heading towards the Alamein Line that is beyond Camberwell Station, do note that there are no express services there, so any Alamein service will get you to the station you need on the Alamein Line, provided that it isn't a Riversdale service that terminates at Riversdale. And finally, to avoid any confusion, Alamein is not a suburb. The station of Alamein is actually located in the suburb of Ashburton. In terms of Alamein Line improvements, it does have rather low patronage at every single station at the line. There are hardly any level crossings and not really much you can do to improve service frequency, so in terms of the Alamein Line, other than your basic maintenance works and what's not, there isn't really much needed to improve the line, at least as of now. However, let's go to the final part or segment of the video, and that is a cool story. As mentioned before, Alamein Station is located in the suburb of Ashburton, but likely got its name from the nearby Alamein Avenue. Now, I'm not 100% sure exactly if Alamein Avenue was named after this and thus the station. In late 1942, in El Alamein, Egypt, there was a famous battle which is known as the El Alamein Battle. And this is probably where the name Alamein came from, but I'm not entirely sure, so if that is wrong, please let me know in the comments below. But if that is true, I guess that's sort of where the name Alamein comes from. On that note though, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video and learnt a thing or two about the Alamein Line. And I think we'll leave it at that. Cheers.